Drawing a really big picture seems difficult, so let's make it easier.
Penmark process.
Hello there, my name is Pen. I am a freelance digital artist. I do paintings and illustrations. Today's painting is huge. It took a really long time to do. It is Cyberpunk 2077 themed. It is for both Dexter and Geen. You should check out their Twitch channels. They stream for those German speakers. And this picture had a lot of details to figure out and juggle. So I want to walk you through the process that I took while building this whole picture up. My cat is meowing and I love her. Let's get started. I usually stick to sketching because it's easier for me to just draw all the details loosely. You'll notice these are kind of messy. That's on purpose because it's easier for me to look at it and squint and imagine all the details. Even with all this perspective of the buildings going off into the distance, I've got vehicles and weird architecture. I'm still keeping my lines loose because I'm imagining stuff. Some of these loose lines could be wires or weird frames of the building. It's easier for me to imagine all of those possibilities if I keep my lines loose. When the sketch gets close enough to kind of feel like the idea, I'm then going to start putting in very simple blobs of color, usually only 1 or 2 shades. I keep it only 1 or 2 shades, a dark and a light, in order to figure out the light source, but also depth, how to feel like it's 3D. And actually, more than that, I'm focusing on what's the point of the picture? What's the focus? Like, what is this a picture about? And if there's usually a character or multiple characters, they are the point of the picture. So I'm going to give them the sharpest contrast. Their lights are going to be super bright and their darks are going to be super dark. So I figured that out in this first stage of any kind of shading or color. Usually you'd think of a light source being, what creates all the shading, but I kind of go in reverse. I figure out what I need to focus on and how to show them off, and then that tells me where the light source is. So I would say with priority, think about the goal more than anything else, and let all of the weird art rules and perspective and principles of design, let all of that serve the goal. So the goal comes first. And that's why you'll see sharp white lines along the edges of these vehicles, along their coats, and just all the details of the 2 characters. They get some of the sharpest, brightest lines and the darkest lines because I want you to look at them first. I guess technically I could say that there's 3 priorities because there are a bunch of signs on this picture. Because with Cyberpunk, the mood, the grittiness of all of these ads and commercialism. And so you want to get a bunch of crowded details. And it's kind of like a triangle in this picture. You do kind of look up at a wall of signs as like the 3rd character, kind of. The city is kind of a character. So that's where you also see a bunch of details. And if you think of it like a triangle there, that does kind of help with where I focus my attention. And that brings me to the 3rd point, details. If you think about the whole picture at once, it's overwhelming. There's 500 details and there's so many layers. And if you're doing this traditionally, you feel the stress of I can't mess up because I might mess up the paper. Slow down, pull back, just think about 2 or 3 things. What's the point of the picture? Focus on those. Then, as things get comfortable, you can go back and add really sharp details to the edge of that one sign in the corner, or the railing on that one walkway, or on the sidewalk. You can go to the background and add details later when the rest of it feels good. I will admit sometimes I would get really caught up in a small portion of the picture and put all this complicated detail into it. That's sometimes still going to happen, even if you slap yourself on the wrist and go, I shouldn't do that. It's still going to happen. It's not really that big of a deal. But overall, make it simple by only thinking about maybe 2 or 3 things in the whole picture. Keep it really simple as to the characters, the background, and then the sky. I would say my 3 chunks of this picture are the characters, their vehicles, the buildings, and then the sky with skyscrapers way back there. That's kind of like the 3rd piece. It made it way easier to just look at this picture and think it through as if it's no big deal. If I just think about it in those 3 simple sections, it saves you a ton of stress. It's easier to look it over. I would recommend frequently stop, zoom out really far, make the image small, and see what you notice. This saved me a lot because at times I would think the picture was working and then I would zoom out. And back when I would work in high school, I would literally hold a piece of paper far away from me, or I'd set it up and walk to the other side of the room and look at it from this far away and be like, oh, now that I look at it from far away, that right side looks weird. Okay, I need to fix that. And on the computer, you can just zoom out. So I would recommend doing that a lot. Even on my sketch phase, I would do that. I would zoom out and try to look at it all together, which makes it simple, therefore a little bit easier. Hopefully that makes it a lot easier for you to approach your next big picture and all those crazy details. If you want more specific advice, I have a Patreon that you can see in the link below. Just search PenMark, you'll find me. I answer specific questions there for all patrons, and I'd love to know if there's something else you're looking for in the comments below, or if you've got an idea, let me know. I'd love to see it. Thank you for watching. My name is PenMark, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.